Retro.
Hi, this is Fred Tatasciore, and you're listening to Dennis and Jay on Podcast Stardust. The Force is strong with both of them.
Welcome to Podcast Stardust. This is the fully armed and operational podcast dedicated to Star Wars news, reviews, and discussion. I'm Dennis Keithley.
And I'm Jay Krebs.
And we are going to wrap up this week with a little bit of news and some discussion of Mandalorian and Grogu ahead of its debut in a week. But before we get into that, Jay, you want to remind everybody where we can be found on social media?
Oh, of course, Dennis. We're on Facebook and Instagram, very easily found, Podcast Stardust.
All right. The dish is lined. The signal's boosted to maximum output. The shield is down, and we are now broadcasting to the galaxy. So this is a light news week, but we got a very fun and important announcement earlier today. And that should give you some idea of when we're recording this, which is about a week ahead of or at least earlier in the week than what we usually record, because we are going back to our regular schedule where the news comes out on Friday. With that having been said, we now know that season 2 of Ahsoka will be arriving in early 2027. And this was announced by Rosario Dawson, the live-action Ahsoka herself, at the Disney Upfront Showcase. So, Jay, this is a little later than I thought it was going to be coming out. I kind of expected it in late 2026, but what do you think?
Yeah, I was trying to, when we put this in the notes and we were just talking about this, I thought that as well. And so I'm not sure what the, I guess you could say, holdup is, but apparently they have decided that that is the best time to release it. So when they say early 2027, I wonder if it will be early as in the first quarter, or early as in around Celebration, or, when are they going to drop this?
Yeah, that is a good question. I mean, if I'm going to make a bet, I'm going to say it's going to come out before Celebration. And I think the reason why it's not coming out in 2026, and I'd lost track of this, but Vision Quest, the new Marvel series coming on Disney Plus, is coming out this fall. And it's kind of the third series in the WandaVision, Agatha All Along, and now Vision Quest, trilogy of shows that they've got.
Okay.
So there's that, and then we will have the new Avengers movie coming out in December. So I think they're going to, I'm guessing, and this is pure speculation on my part, I haven't done any research on this, maybe they're going to let Marvel shine at the end of this year, and then let Star Wars take over for the year of its 50th anniversary. So give us Ahsoka in early 2027, have A New Hope come into theaters at the beginning of April, and then we got Celebration, and then we're going to end up with the Starfighter in May. And so they're going to really just keep us excited with Star Wars for a few months there at the beginning of the year. That's my guess. So I don't know how credible the logic is behind it, but if I had to come up with a theory, there you go.
No, I think that's perfect, because you're right. I mean, it would definitely go with the hype of the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know about you, but I just kind of expected there to be a bit more of a cadence, for lack of a better description, which is, we have something early in the year for Star Wars, which was Maul Shadow Lord, and then getting maybe Ahsoka later in the year, and then season 2 of Maul maybe early next year, but that just doesn't seem to be the situation. So I don't know when we're going to get season 2, but Sam Witwer seemed to suggest it's going to be sooner rather than later.
You did say that.
And we just talked about that in our last news episode at the beginning of the week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so maybe we will get Maul at the end of this year. I don't know. That seems I'm pretty ambitious saying that, I know, but
yeah. I have a feeling if that was going to happen, they would have announced it at the showcase. So
that's true.
all right. Okay, so the other semi news story that we have is that, of course, we know with the Mandalorian and Grogu coming out in well, a week from the time this episode airs, that we're also getting the tie-in event at Smuggler's Run and Galaxy's Edge at Disney World and Disneyland. And if you're hoping to see it at Hollywood Studios and Disney World and you're an annual pass holder, you may have some difficulty because all the reservations for Disney's Hollywood Studios, which is where Galaxy's Edge can be found, have been booked for that
I
day.
saw that. Oh my gosh.
Right. So if you are staying on property or you have a general ticket, you can get into the park. You won't necessarily be recruited unless they're at capacity. And even if you are an annual pass holder, you can go to one of the other parks during the day and then try and park hop. But I'm going to guess at that point, there's going to be some extremely long lines for for Smuggler's Run at that point. So you may just have to settle for going to see a different day. Go to the theaters and see the movie a
Yeah,
couple
I
times.
was gonna say
Yeah.
that might be a good alternative.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of cool to see that people are that excited for it. I feel like people are more excited for the ride update than they actually are the movie at this point.
Well, it's an experience that you can, remember forever. Not that the movie isn't, but you
Yeah.
can always go back and see the movie in theaters a lot easier than you can doing Smuggler's Run, I suppose.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're an annual pass holder, you can get there all the time, I suppose.
Good
So
point.
I don't know. I mean, I guess there's a different diagram of people that are interested in necessarily the movie versus the ride. There's going to be some overlap, but a lot of the people that are going to the parks aren't necessarily Star Wars fans first as much as they are theme park fans first. And
Mhm.
so maybe that's what it is. I don't
That
know.
makes
But
sense.
yeah,
Sure.
but it sounds pretty cool. The updates, we've
Yeah,
been
it
talking
does.
about them here on the show. One of the engineers gets to interact with Grogu, another one gets to figure out where the ship is going next, and the updated scenes and a bit more variety in what you can do as opposed to kind of just doing the same mission over and over and over again. So
Yeah,
uh, that should be fun.
that is exciting.
Yep. All right. Well, that's what we got for news for the week. But I thought we would take advantage of the time we have left to get into a couple other discussion topics. And it's prediction time. As I was saying a moment ago, we've got The Mandalorian and Grogu coming to theaters. It's officially out on the 22nd. We all know that it's going to be doing its early previews on the 21st. And so there's that. But with basically a week to go, I thought it'd be just fun, just kind of talk about what we're expecting. First off, have you got your tickets yet to see the movie?
Not specifically, but we know Colby One and I have decided that we're gonna go to our little local theater here, and it's basically got the entire theater available other than 4 seats that have been spoken for a 2 o'clock in the afternoon showing. So I think sometime this week we're gonna go ahead and grab our tickets. I've been kind of lazy about it because every time I've looked, it's like, oh nope, nobody's not bought any yet. So
Mm-hmm.
so I've been kind of lax about that, but we're definitely gonna go. And then I've talked about my one teacher friend of mine who is a huge Grogu fan. I mean, she's got Grogu everything, everywhere. I mean, her whole world is Grogu. So she's super excited to see it. So I think I'm going to go a second time that weekend as well because I was afraid I didn't even know if I was going to get there opening weekend. And then I thought, well, I'll go by myself. So now I've got 2 different people to go with. I just don't officially have tickets yet. But do you
Mm.
have your tickets yet?
Yeah, yeah. We're going on the Friday night, so I'm not gonna make it to the Thursday night shows, and that's fine. But I'm just gonna shut off social media on Thursday afternoon and not look at it until after I've seen the movie. But we're going Friday night. We're going to the Alamo Draft House. I got our tickets a couple nights ago. There's at the Alamo Draft House, they've got a very large theater they call it the Big Show, and it's got like the best projection, the Dolby and the surround sound and all that stuff. The other theaters are fine, but I wanted the biggest screen, the best experience, and so the showing I picked is like at 7 o'clock or something like that, and there was plenty of seats. The best seats, like right in the middle, were all taken. But any rate, so this is just slightly off to the side, but I'm still super excited for it. Can't wait to go see it. I know I'll be going to see it again in a couple weeks after that when my brother and my niece come to town. But those tickets aren't on sale yet, so I can't get those. But hoping to see it again at least one more time between between those two showings, and we'll just have to see. But I'm excited. It's fun to go see a new Star Wars project in a theater with a community of people. Everyone getting those reactions. We were just recording our next installment of our Force Awakens series, which is going to come out in a couple days. And our guest was talking about that whole notion about going to see Star Wars with community people. And he's right. You get all these great reactions, that crowd atmosphere where everyone's reacting to everything at the same time is
Right.
always so cool.
Oh, definitely. I am so
Mhm.
looking forward to that part of it. And like I said, it might just be my son and I and 4 other people that afternoon, and that's okay.
Yeah. I'm feeling more will be there as you get closer to time.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
All right. So now we talked a bit about that. Let's talk about our expectations and, kind of playing a prediction / speculation game. And to be clear, because I know some people would be sensitive about these type of things, we know nothing other than what we've seen in some of the teasers and trailers and TV spots. And to be frank, I've quit watching those. I'm not watching any new ones. I have not watched the trailer again or the teaser again in a couple weeks since I think the last one we talked about on this show. So maybe some additional stuff has come out. I know they had IMAX screenings where they show like the first 25 minutes of the movie and stuff like that, but I don't
Mhm.
know what was in those. How about you? You been keeping up with TV spots or trailers or any of that stuff?
Not beyond just what we have discussed already.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like you, I've kind of shut a lot of that down. And I'm to the point where it's like, okay, now I just want to immerse myself in the movie because, of course, all of the merch is coming out really hot and heavy right now
Yep.
as well. Everywhere you turn, you've got Mando Grogu. I was at Walmart today and there's this huge kiosk full of stuff, and everywhere you turn it's there, which is a good problem to have, of course. But like you, I'm just trying to kind of keep it as fresh as possible for the movie theater.
Yeah, and it's all over social media, their ads, and so I just like scroll right past it at this point
Hmm.
because I and look, I don't know for certain, but I feel like they're starting to show a lot more than they have been showing for Star Wars movies. Now, granted, that was 7 years ago, last time we got one, but I want to keep as much fresh from when we go there. I mean, I've got some idea of what's going to happen in this movie just from those trailers and things like that, but still don't even know who the real villains are, other than all their Imperial warlords, is what they've told us.
Hmm.
Um, and of course, we've seen Sigourney Weaver's character, Colonel Ward. We've seen Zeb's going to be in it. We've got the Mandalorian. We got Grogu. We got the Anzellans. We got Rhoda the Hutt. They've been showing him off quite a bit. But okay, so we know those things. Question I want to ask you: what character, besides those we've seen in a teaser or trailer, if they were going to make a surprise appearance, who would you guess it would be in the movie?
Ooh, so yeah, I think there is a strong chance that it might be holding back
Mm-hmm.
at least one type of character, whether it be a legacy type character, a surprise cameo. And I don't think it's going to be for just applause factor, but somehow to tie into the larger era,
Mm-hmm.
whether that be in the fact that, we've got these other Disney Plus series that are out there or just the timeline in general. So, I think that being said, there could be maybe an appearance from someone like Bo-Katan, potentially, or even the Armorer at this point. And one thing I would love to see, though, is to tie things in even to some of the other types of media that we've seen. So I think there's a really good chance that I shouldn't say a good chance, but I would love to see maybe even a Hondo Onaka appearance because he's kind of, he's tied into a lot of the interconnectedness of some of these underworld kinds of things that are going on. So I think that that's really cool. So he could be some kind of an info broker, if nothing else, perhaps. And, and somehow I would love maybe to see even someone like Omera somehow reappearing. I don't know how, but she was the one. I've just rewatched season 1 of The Mandalorian, and that was in episode 4, Sanctuary, where they go to that village and they get the spotchka for the first time, and she wants him to stay there. So I don't know how possibly she would reappear, but I think that would be a cool callback. So those are just big speculations,
Yeah,
obviously.
you gave me your wish list, but I'm asking you to put a chip
Yeah.
down. Which character are you going to put a chip down on? If someone was going to make an appearance, who would it be?
Oh, probably Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan?
I would say.
Yeah. So since we've gone that way with the conversation, I guess this is what I'm thinking. There's a couple different varieties of characters that could show up in this movie and it makes sense. So you've got the Mandalorian type characters, and I think you highlighted some of them: Bo-Katan, the Armorer, those characters that are there on Mandalore that it would make sense. But we also know that he set up a homestead in Navarro at the end of the season 3, so maybe that doesn't happen. He's doing work for the rebellion and the people that are at Delphi base, so someone like Carson Teva might make sense. Also other people that are on Navarro that might make sense, like IG-11. It would be great to have Grief Karga, but unfortunately Carl Weathers has passed away, so that's unlikely to happen there. The last pool of characters I think might make sense would be the other members of the Ghost from Rebels that are currently in Galaxy. So Sabine could not be there, Ahsoka could not be there, but Ezra and Hera or Chopper might make sense for a cameo at some point, especially at the end of the movie. Like, if he's tracking down warlords and that taken care of, all of a sudden he's summoned as a teaser to meet with Hera because they got to deal with Thrawn. As a way of tying this into season 2 of Ahsoka.
Yep.
So
no, I think that's a great speculation because, like I was saying earlier, something to tie things into the larger, time era. And I hadn't thought of Ezra, but I will say I've been seeing a lot of Amon Esfandi around on the internet here lately, like the social media stuff. And he's been around doing a lot of things. And, maybe that's coincidental, but very interesting.
He absolutely loves the fact that he plays Ezra. He
does.
He really, really loves
totally.
that. Yes. The most recent thing I've seen, and mind you, I'm not up on everything he's doing on social media, but someone like knocks on a door. You're getting this like a POV, and he's like opens a slit, and it's a secret Star Wars like lounge that he's inside, and he invites people in, and like various people doing all these different Star Wars things inside and drinking or whatever. And so he invites the person and is showing the whole thing off. That was kind of cool. But he's also playing Mary Jane's boyfriend in the new Spider-Man movie that's coming out this summer. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I didn't know that either. And he's in the trailer for that. And I didn't even catch it until I saw him talking about it on social media. I was like, oh, that was you. Okay, cool. Good for you.
Maybe that's why he's been making the rounds quite a bit as well.
Yeah. Well, and he's just talking about Ahsoka coming out. So
true.
I'm sure he'll be hyping that before we know it too. So
Yep, indeed.
All right.
Yeah, give me Hera. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I like it.
Gee, you like Hera? What a surprise. Next question. Do you think any major character that we know of is going to meet their demise in this movie? And if so, who would it be?
Goodness. Wow. That's a tough one because I think that there's a lot at stake throughout this entire movie. And obviously with every episode of The Mandalorian, I mean, there's always something that could go awry at any point. But I know I'm dancing around this question. Gosh, I just don't know who that could potentially be at this point, especially if you want to leave the door open for future storytelling. That's a tough question. Do you have any ideas?
Well, let me tell you what the genesis of this question was, is that, of course, in the trailers that we've been seeing, and there's that overdub, and maybe it is dialogue out of the movie, I don't know, but you hear Din Djarin talking about how this, and I don't have the exact quote, but it's essentially along the lines of, he's going to outlive me by a lot of years or something like that. And so it's kind of this notion of him getting Grogu ready to look after himself And I was like, they really aren't going to kill Din Djarin off, are they? Is what I was thinking. And two, I guess there was I have been trying to stay away from this stuff when I was putting together the notes for the news today. I can't remember what the event he was at, and someone asked him about him reprising this role, and he said he was hoping to play the Mandalorian again, or stuffing as many people as they needed to in the armor so that this character can go forward for as many years as possible and stuff like that. And the cynic in me was just kind of like, that's a coy way of saying, not letting the cat out of the bag on all of this,
Oh man.
And Pedro Pascal has also been on record saying that the real star of the movie is Grogu here, which could be him just saying that as much as this movie is called Mandalorian and Grogu, it could be Grogu and the Mandalorian. Give Grogu the top billing for this. But I don't know. Do I think the Mandalorian is going to perish? No, not really. But it's just it seems like they're planting just a seed of that out there so that you're going into this movie thinking there might be bigger stakes than what you would think otherwise, if you get my drift on that. So, but as far as any major characters, I just don't know. It gets back to the first question I asked. Well, who would make the cameo? What other major characters would they? Because no, I don't really expect Din Djarin. I don't expect Grogu to pass away. Sure, Colonel Ward, I could, but who else is there? I don't think they're going to. I don't think they'd bring Zeb in for this movie just to dispatch of him because.
Oh, they better not.
No, I mean we're all hoping to see him reunite with Hera and Ezra in Ahsoka season 2. So, but yeah, so no, I don't really have an answer to that question either. But that's just the reason why I was wondering about it.
Maybe we'll see Callus. Now that I'm thinking about this, we got Zeb. Maybe we'll get Callus.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah, I just thought of that.
Especially if he has that hair lockdown and everyone loses their mind about Hot Callus. So.
All right, fan casting. Let's go. No.
Well, no, who I don't have anyone in mind. Anyone you could think of to play him?
Oh gosh, I know we've done this in the past, and off the top of my head, I can't really think of anyone that I would. I mean, like Ryan Gosling would be a good one, but he's already doing Starfighter, so
he's not as gruff enough. I don't think.
Could be.
I need someone who's a bit more militant, I suppose, for lack of a better word, that kind of embodies the whole I am a soldier type of personality thing. Who would that be? I don't know. What is his name?
Well, you know what? Didn't they cast someone for Callus in Ahsoka season 2, or was that just a rumor?
That's the first I'd heard of it.
Oh yeah, it's coming up here as Wyatt Russell. There's a couple
That's
different
funny. That's
ones.
exactly who I was looking up.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Well, look at you.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he'd be perfect.
That's funny because we've been watching Monarch and he's in that, and him and his father play the same person, just in different time periods.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
well, I have seen rumors about that. I don't know if that has been confirmed or not. So if that's the case, I mean, that would be a really easy, transition to make into something like this movie. That would be cool.
That's interesting. I'm looking this up right now. The reason why I thought of him is just because he played the new Captain America in the Falcon and Winter Soldier series that was on Disney Plus, and he can play the military type and has a similar build, and I could see him pulling off a similar hair type look and all that type of thing.
I could totally see him as live action.
Yeah,
Callus,
so
for sure.
I don't know. I just looked it up here, and I'm not seeing a lot, and maybe it's just too old. I'm not seeing a lot of the sources that I rely on for that type of thing, but it is coming up on Google as that's what's happening. So I guess we'll see. But no, that I could go for that. I think that'd be cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, from here on out, what else do you want to see in this movie? Is there something that you're hoping this movie accomplishes that is out of the norm? What are your hopes for this movie?
Oh, I mean, I don't know if it's out of the norm necessarily, but I just hope that it gets us back to that cinematic feel that we've been longing for so long in a Star Wars movie, because we've been
Mhm.
talking about the idea that we haven't had a Star Wars movie in the theater since The Rise of Skywalker in 2019. And so I'm just hoping that it just reminds people of what Star Wars does best,
Yeah.
and the storytelling in and of itself can feel mythic, but also very personal at the same time, because that's what Star Wars is. I mean, it's always been kind of an emotional journey, but through the lens of a larger conflict kind of thing. I mean, that's what we got to see with Luke. That's what we got to see with, all of the movies I feel like have had that element to them. And so I know that's kind of a general cop out kind of an answer, but I'm just hoping that when I leave the theater that I feel like, oh yes, that was a Star Wars experience.
I think I understand what you're trying to say. And I guess the way I'd answer this question myself is that I'm thinking of the way I felt after Maul Shadowlord just ended, that
Mhm.
I was pumped. And a lot of that was based on the action, the pacing, the sequencing of things like that. And the disadvantage that the Mandalorian Grogu is going to have is that you can't bring in Darth Vader at this. And frankly, if you did, it would feel cheap. I mean, obviously, Darth Vader's
Oh
perished
yeah.
at this point, but there's not necessarily a villain that you could come in a similar type of role and pull that off. This is also, as best I can tell, not a movie for lightsabers. So
Right.
there's a bit of a disadvantage of that as well. But we also really love season 2 of Andor.
Mhm.
And so if we came away from this movie with some sort of appreciation based, it just had fantastic writing, it kept us engaged, and we got the great cinematography, everything else, then yes, that's, I think, the way you put it, this is Star Wars, that type of feeling on there. And don't get me wrong, love the Bad Batch. I think that was a fantastic series, but there was a clear difference in like a lot of the lightsaber action we got in Ahsoka compared to Maul Shadowlord, and
Mhm.
some of the action. I'm just cherry picking some things here. So make me come out feeling like, yeah, I got that genuine Star Wars experience the way I felt after Maul Shadowlord, the way we felt after Andor season 2, even though Andor season 2 was like deviated from like the most from the Star Wars model that we're used to.
Sure. Yeah. And again, like you said, just the idea of what Star Wars can do for us, as far as that journey.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited. It's been, I know I've said in the past that I'm looking more forward to Starfighter than I am this movie just because of the unknown and what it could potentially do for the future of Star Wars. But Favreau's out there saying things like, he wants to introduce a new generation to Star Wars and feels like this could be a jumping off point and a springboard and thing like that. And I hope he's right. I hope we're talking about this the way we've been talking about The Force Awakens this year as we've been doing our series. So,
Mhm.
um, I just can't wait to see what comes of this next week.
Mhm.
It is
Yeah, and I
weird.
just
We got a movie coming out next week.
oh, I know, and and again, I was just talking to my son about this today, and just the fact that this has a lot of, weight to it as far as a movie is concerned, because this is the first one that we've had in so long that it's kinda like, don't mess this up." I hate to say it that way, but it's like, "Okay, you gotta leave us with that feel," and that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, yeah, I agree 100%. All right. Well, that kind of uses up the time we had available for this edition of the news. It was a lot of news, but I'm glad that we could kind of dive into the hype and our expectations and hopes for the Mandalorian and Grogu, and not married to any of the speculation. It's just fun to talk
Sure.
about and to
Oh,
think about
yeah.
what's going out there, and
Have the fun.
it's right. And as you're gonna hear in a couple episodes when we get to the next installment of The Force Awakens, the one of the fun things about that was revisiting characters that we'd been absent from for so long, and Han, Luke, and Leia, and the like.
Yes.
And so just trying to rekindle some of that spirit is what I'm hoping for. And so I'm glad we got to do this and have that discussion. So, with that said, just wanted to thank you all for joining us for this episode of Podcast Stardust and our weekly look at Star Wars news with a dash of discussion thrown in for good measure. We hope you'd enjoyed it, and would love it if you subscribe to the podcast if you haven't done so already. We also appreciate your ratings and reviews wherever you can leave those, and comments on places like Spotify are always a big hit, and love reading those. And then we'd invite you to head over to retrozap.com to check out the entire back catalog of the show, all previous 1,033 episodes that we have out there. Jay, you want to remind everybody what the rest of our social media contacts are and where else we can be found on the internet?
You got it, Dennis. We're on Facebook and Instagram very conveniently at Podcast Stardust. And we also have all of our Pinterest boards that you can check out. And you can also listen to us on our 2 YouTube outlets, which is both YouTube and YouTube Music. So we don't have video, just audio, but that's just another place where you can share the show as well. And then you can always email us your thoughts at podcastartist@gmail.com. And if you would like to embrace new wardrobe for Podcast Stardust, or maybe just enlarge your closet with all of these 7 different show logo designs that we have available, you can head over to TeePublic, and there's some apparel, and then there's also some things like coffee mugs and some other fun things as well. So once again, check that out at TeePublic in our show notes.
Okay. You want to remind everybody what you got going on in cosplay?
Sure. So on my Instagram, which is at j.snipscosplay, you can catch me over there as Ahsoka, Hera. We were just talking about 2 different versions of Hera. I have my Force Sister Inquisitor, my original concept Mandalorian, which I pulled out another Mando Monday here just recently, getting excited, of course, for the Mandalorian and Grogu, as well as some other fun things as well. So once again, that's at j.snipscosplay.
All right. Upcoming on the show on Monday, we'll be getting back into our Clone Wars rewatch. So we're picking that back up now that Maul Shadow Lord has concluded. And we'll be looking at episode 18 from season 3, which is called The Citadel. If you lost your place and you want to join us, you can make sure you check that out. And then on Wednesday, it is the 5th installment in our The Force Awakens series for this year. So we're breaking down 10 minutes of the movie that starts at about 49 minutes and 20 seconds if you want to get yourself prepared for that. All right. Thanks for listening to episode 1034 of Podcast Stars, everyone. Have a great weekend. And until next time, may the Force be with you.